Welcome to We Are Not Here to Tick a Box with David Kane and Debbie Hayes. Episode number 1.
Hi, I'm Debbie Hayes, and with me is David Kane, and we've come together because we both have a passion about not ticking a box. So, David, would you like to kick off and just share a little bit about why we have chosen that title?
Yeah. So when we got together, first of all, we started talking, and we realized that we have a lot of similarities in the way that we approach our clients and the way we see the world. And that got us to this point of, well, we're not ticking boxes, are we? And we're not. And what we actually mean by that is that, when we were discussing it, there's an undertone of reactivity, whether it be in business, whether it be in life. Things happen and we react to them. And a lot of the time when these things crop up, those reactions can have a very, very short lifespan. It's a quick fix. It's something that we do to solve a specific problem. What it doesn't have is longevity, sustainability. So when we were talking, what was really exciting was that we both agreed that the best thing that we can do is just take a breath, to just take a step back, look at the bigger picture and go, right, what can we do that will be equally as good in the short term as it will be in the long term, more sustainable, that in the future would probably save money or time for whoever it's going to be, and have real benefits for individuals and for businesses. So take it from a reactive state to a proactive state. So we're not here to tick a box. We're not here to put, to be reactive to a business problem or a personal problem. What we're here to do is to be proactive, to look at solutions for today, but ones that are going to be of benefit for tomorrow. And I think you want to talk a little bit more about that.
Well, it's addressing the real issues, isn't it? And I have a phrase that I know that you resonated with when we talked originally around, we've got to be brave enough, haven't we, to rip off what I call the positivity plaster. There's a lot of people that have taken that sort of option, but we've got to be brave enough to rip it off and go, what are the real issues here? Because, and frankly, unless we address those real issues, they're still there. And real issues, left unresolved, in my experience, they get worse. So, we have to go there, don't we? We've got to go, right, what are the real issues? Let's address the real issues, and then the symptoms, automatically dissolve, don't they?
Absolutely. And of course, I'm living proof a little bit in that, in terms of my personal journey. You're absolutely right. Unless you address whether they be personal issues or business issues at the time, in detail, thoroughly, and I think that's the really important piece here, to do it properly, they're always going to come back round again. They're never going to be in your past. They're always going to be a part of your future. And of course, what we want is a more positive future. So absolutely.
And it does take courage.
Yeah.
It does take courage to do that, because you've got to open up to face the truth, face the vulnerabilities that are there.
Yeah.
If we, it's not necessarily an easy journey at first, because you're going to discover things that are uncomfortable.
Yeah.
But
absolutely.
If we, put masks over that, plasters, whatever, we can never resolve the issue then, can we?
No.
I think you've got a fantastic story to share on that one, haven't you, David?
Yeah, well, again, we'll give an example. So what do we mean by this? We talked about reactivity, proactivity, being brave enough, and these are all things that we need to do. Do it without fear. Come together. I think we're all imperfect, whether it be businesses, whether it be human beings, and we've got to embrace that. Life's a journey, life's a learning journey. So what's there to be afraid of? And a great example that we can give in terms of this bit of not ticking boxes. We've all probably worked for an organisation where the royal visit is about to happen. Somebody from senior management is going to come to our business. It happens all the time. And you'll resonate with this. The people who are watching.
I can totally resonate with this one.
Absolutely. And for the next 24 hours, 48 hours, we put customer service to one side. We start cleaning the place. We start creating an illusion. Boxes
are tidied, aren't they? Desks,
absolutely.
surfaces are clean, and
all of that, cups off the tables, and everybody comes in with a cravat or whatever it is they've got on perfectly ironed. And, we've all been there, haven't we?
Yeah.
And what a real shame. And the thing about this pantomime, I mean, I'm going to say it's a pantomime, is it doesn't serve the people, but equally, the senior managers know it's a pantomime. And it's such a shame, because if the organisational culture was that we could just be real, these are the challenges. Look, would we want a desk that is all cluttered? Would we want, the company china not to be polished? Of course we wouldn't. In an ideal world, we take pride in where we work. So we want these things to be right. There's reasons. There's things that have got in the way that is making the business challenging at this time. By having again, coming back to your point, the confidence, the bravery to show the reality of this situation, so that the senior management can see it. Let's remember, they're senior managers because they've probably got a lot of experience. They've probably been where you've been. So we're actually losing the opportunity here to learn from people who have got experience to give. So it just doesn't serve the organisation, whether it be the individual. And when people, when the royalty leaves, the people that are left behind have that feeling of like a hollow feeling.
Yeah, absolutely. It's empty because there's no real connection, because there's been, like you say, it's like there's a facade. Yeah, isn't it? So
and that's it. So it's a great that's where I went to. When I was thinking a really quick, simple idea that we could put across in an introductory one. That's just one element of, well, that's ticking a box. It's not right, and of course we'll expand on that in other areas as we start doing this on a basis. But hopefully people understand just through that example. Yeah, actually, that is ticking a box, and there's merits to being brave enough to let them see the reality.
My other sort of story or analogy in this as well is, I'm a builder's daughter. So you pick up some good phrases here. And, my dad would always tell me there's absolutely no point wallpapering over the cracks. Yep. If you have got a wall that's cracked, it probably needs wall ties, So you've got to be able to do that, haven't you? And if you've built a business on dodgy foundations, there is no point buying new cushions. It's like it's going to do absolutely nothing. You've got to be brave enough, again, to look at the real problem. And either you're going to have to underpin the foundations that you've got, or at worst, do you know what? You might have to be brave enough to actually let the whole thing come down and rebuild from solid foundations. Yeah,
absolutely.
So, absolutely. We have to, there's no point putting, these wallpaperings, as I would call the fancy PR campaigns over something. They are seen as wallpaper, and unfortunately people see it as that, and it then creates a lack of trust, because then it's like, well, you're not seeing the real problem.
No.
So, we do really have to just be careful about, like I say, these PR campaigns that companies put over things. If you've got no trust, that is like such a negative place to be in, isn't it?
Yeah. And again, we're both not coming from a place of grandeur here. I look back, on my career. I could have done so much better. Had I been more mindful back then as I am now, I would have been a far better manager. So, we're not coming at this in terms of, trying to belittle or anything like that.
No.
We ourselves have had to learn this, and we've had to reflect on this, but we genuinely believe that by approaching life and business in this way, it is the right way. It is the right way of doing it. And, you mentioned the word PR there. PR is not action. It's the action that we need to focus on. What are we going to do that long after the marketing campaign is finished, this remains? And that's the important bit.
And I think the important thing to hear is to remember, you don't know what you don't know. So Absolutely. If you don't know something, you can't do something about it. But hopefully our podcast will help to reveal some of the issues that do need to be addressed. And, if you do need support in doing that, then we'd be absolutely delighted, wouldn't we, David, to be able to support that? Because if you don't know, you don't know. No. But I think we're pretty good detectives in terms of, We know the patterns, don't we? We know how to change this for people.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
And that's what we're passionate about, isn't it? Is being able to create fantastic workplaces, where people are happy. The PR campaigns, the tick in the boxes, been removed because it addresses those real causes.
Yeah, I think the way I put that, Debbie, and I hope you'd agree with this, is we want to we want, when we work with clients, we want to become a part of the family of
Absolutely,
that
yeah,
business. We don't want
yeah.
to just, again, from our perspective, we're
Mm.
challenging you as a business to not tick a box. We also
Yeah.
will walk the walk on that. We don't want to come in
Yeah.
and tick a box and walk away. We want to be a part of the family. We want to be a part of the team that can
Yeah.
move forward with you in the future.
Well, there is no box to tick. That's the thing for me. It's like there is no magic pre-prescription, because there can't be one. Because how could I possibly know? How could you possibly know what a business needs without going and listening to those needs first?
Yeah, absolutely.
Can't happen. So
Absolutely.
anybody that's promising you that is, it probably fits into.
Well, it's bespoke. I mean, what you're talking about is bespoke service as opposed to an off the peg, and I'm exactly right. Every single industry or businesses within the same industry, the business will be run differently, the challenges will be different, the culture will be different. So for us to approach any business that way, it would be flawed.
Yeah. And the people within that business, again, are all different, and it's helping them to understand the value of those differences as well, isn't it?
Absolutely. And actually, not only understanding them, embracing them, and being thankful for them, because actually diversity, whether that be in terms in all of its forms, and especially in terms of skill set, it's a good thing. We're all on our own journey. We shouldn't compare. Comparisons for me is a really bad thing. If we actually look at individuals, if we celebrate personal growth and business growth in equal measure, we will be a lot better because of that.
Yeah, and that's humans, isn't it? Humanity is here for expansion and growth. Absolutely. We're not robots. We don't want to be robots.
No.
And it's evolution is based off growth, isn't it? So if you want business evolution, and help those employees to evolve and grow, then
absolutely,
that has to be the
absolutely. And
focus.
I think the way that we're going to come at it, we have our own ways. I mean, whilst we have a lot of similarities, you've got your skill set, I've got my skill set, so it should make for quite interesting discussions. There may be times when we disagree. That'd be fun.
Well, that's families, isn't it? And it's okay, isn't it? That's okay.
Yeah. How many times am I going to be sent to bed? Unbelievable. Get to bed. Happy days. But no, that's what we're here to do. So hopefully we've given people a real understanding about what this journey is going to be about. And obviously we'd love people to listen, but also to get involved. Give us your feedback. If there's things that you'd like us to have a little discussion about, we'd be happy to do that as well. We'd be delighted to tailor a particular discussion around something that somebody who's listening would be interested in.
And share their experiences about what we've spoken about, because I think everybody can learn from other people's experiences as well, can't they?
Well, we want to grow as well.
To spot those things. So
allows us to grow as well. Yeah, if people tell us their experiences, like I say, just by knowing you for the short time that I have, you've grown me. So we can all, and I'd like to think that's reciprocated, but yeah, you're right. The more we connect, the more we listen, the more we learn, the more we as individuals grow, and that's what it's all about.
Yeah, brilliant.
Super. Sounds like a plan.
Yeah.
Join us next week for episode 2, Vulnerability.